All right, Saints fans and Who-Dats from all over the world. This is Kyle T. Mosley with the Saints News Radio Network, and welcome to tonight's special broadcast of the Crescent City Connection. All of the Saints News Radio hosts, minus a few tonight. So we're going to talk a little bit about the Saints training camp and give a report on week one. We have tonight the professor from The Professor Speaks, Derek Stevens. What's going on, D?
Hey, it's really the Professor Speaks with special guest host, the CEO of Saints News, Kyle Mosley, because me and BB are here, and so we're changing the Tonight Show. This is a special broadcast by the Professor Speaks crew, me and BB, and with special guest, executive producer and CEO of Saints News, Kyle T. Mosley.
As usual, you can see the professor is out of control. So...
As usual is right.
As usual, man. Well, since you segued into that, BB, we call him Mr. Brendan Boylan. He is on with the professor every Friday night during the season. What's going on, Bren?
Hey, guys. How are you guys doing?
Doing well,
right,
man. Doing well. Well, let's talk a little bit about week one. It's been a very interesting week, and it's been a very optimistic week for the New Orleans Saints. The defense especially has been doing very well by a lot of reports in the news. But before we talk about that, let's talk about a few transactions that have occurred recently. The Saints brought in defensive end Shaughnessy. He used to work with the Arizona Cardinals. I think he took off a little bit last year, or no one was able to sign him on last year. He is an interesting prospect. At 6'5", he comes into kind of help to shore up the pass rushing efforts of the New Orleans Saints, which has been a pretty interesting, I would say, camp battle that's been going on between Mr. Edebali and Archam, as well as the young guy Tull. Those guys have been battling for that spot. Now you bring in Shaughnessy, is going to be an extra added body to the mix. And we can't forget about Bobby Richardson. These guys have from time to time. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this all plays out. And the defense has been making some major strides because Kenan Lewis has returned back onto the field. He was initially on the PUP list, and he has come back to work out with the Saints. He was kind of rusty, trying to get his camp legs back under him on today. He was beaten a couple of times, they said, on some routes, but that is to be expected, especially coming off a major injury and surgery that he has had. So I want to turn to the professor as well as Brendan and kind of go over what are your initial thoughts, Professor, from what you've heard about some of the reports on the defensive side for the New Orleans Saints.
Well, KT, for all the listeners, I call him KT. I've been knowing him best friends for 37 years. So y'all like, who is KT? Who is Professor Thompson? That's Kyle. That's Kyle. BB, I come up with nicknames for all my boys. So BB and KT. Now, you know me, KT. We've been following the Saints 40-some years, and we've been doing the radio shows, me 5 years and you 10 years. And BB knows me from just my usually, as Frank Jones calls me from our NFL Huddle show, Pessy, that sometimes he feels that because I call things as it is that I'm pessimistic. I'm not. But for the first time, I'll be honest with you, BB and KT, I don't want to get too overboard, but I'm excited about what I feel is going to be an improving defense. I'll be very honest with y'all. And I don't say that lightly because, Kyle, you know, all the time I say I don't pay any attention to training camp or preseason except for injuries. The game I watch is the third preseason game, and then I watch that first game when they play the Raiders or whoever the season opener, because that's going to give me an idea of what's going to happen to the Saints throughout a season because the Saints are very much a pattern team. And before we end this show, Colin BB, I have a revelation that I need to get. I got looking at something because, I do study trends and patterns with the Saints. Kyle, I am very cautiously but optimistic of what is going on with this defense. Sheldon Rankins, with Nick, with Cam, and what is going on in lieu of us losing Kikaha, but what is going on, just as you stated, with Charles, and what is going on also with Edabali and all of that, and the linebackers. I just think if we can stay healthy, and it appears that Dennis Allen is, putting some things together, a healthy Keenan Lewis and a healthy Jarvis Bird, Delvin Breaux, and all of that. I feel good. I can't explain it to y'all. And I know it's just been 1 week, but I feel some things, as I stated in the last season, that most of these players that are coming back, with the exception of a few additions, plus the addition of Robinson, Stupor, and Laronitis, but the rest of these players have got a year under their belt together. LB is healthy. If we can just stay healthy, I really, really believe that this defense can make strides and jump up the ladder. And I'm not just basing it off of the 1 week, but I just feel, the players that are coming in and whatever Dennis Allen and these guys are enforcing, that something is gelling a little early. Let's just hope it continues, and let's just hope we don't have any injuries.
Well, BB, any thoughts from you?
Well, first of all, I know today, big props to the rookie Von Bell. He had 2 interceptions today, one against Drew Brees and one against Garrett Grayson. He's having a really good camp. See, that whole defensive end battle that you talked about earlier, it looks like Watcham is winning that battle so far, but I heard Bobby Richardson speak a little bit today after practice. It seems like that's a big, healthy battle, and it seems like the defensive ends are expected to know how to play the defensive tackle positions as well. About the technique, I'm not sure, but they're expected to be able to move and rotate on that defensive line, which is a really good sign because last year we didn't have a lot of depth on that defensive line. Going to the linebackers, it seems like this kid, Craig Robertson, has been a really big stud so far in camp. A lot of people are really high on him, but with what I've been told as of right now, Ellerby will start on the weak side, but Robertson is giving him a run for his money. And it's great to see Keenan Lewis back healthy. Obviously, you take Lewis out of that lineup and out of that depth chart at the defensive back position, you don't have a lot of veterans. It's nice to see him come back on the field, but I'm really excited. I'm kind of here with the professor. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's this young group of guys. I'm not sure if it's just the typical new season jitters and feeling happy and not knowing what's going to happen. But I have a really good feeling going into the season, and just like the professor, I really can't describe it. I'm not sure what it is.
Well, and if you guys are a Richard Pryor fan, and like I was growing up, is which way is up? The only way you could go from the disappointing season of last year on the defense is to have a positive, much positive season this year. It seems as though the reporters have been noticing how more organized the defense has been under Dennis Allen this training camp than the previous couple of training camps under Ryan. And the organization has really helped them out. The way they have communicated together has really helped them out. And I believe some of these battles have really been playing into that effect, because you have some young guys who are given some opportunities to come in to really make an impact on this particular defense, which was very porous last year and very poor last year. You have a guy like Davidson, who is in his second year with the Saints. He has really been doing very well. You have a young guy who we drafted in the fourth round, Omni Mata, and he's still learning. But you have Nick Fairley, who, of course, everybody knows he is a NFL stud when he can focus and put his mind to it. And you have a guy like John Johnson Jenkins, who is trying to really come back to be able to say, hey, don't forget about me. And, we have our young first round draft pick, Sheldon Rankins. So we have guys who are there, especially in the middle, who are fighting to be able to make this particular team, but also are contributing to be able to make sure that this team is going to be effective. I'm waiting to see what's going to happen next week, Professor, when these guys go up to New England and visit those guys on the East Coast.
Well, that's a good question, because New England will be a good practice team for them to go up against with all of the success these last 16 years that Bill Belichick and that organization. They are the 5-star, in some ways, because they do have the discrepancy of cheating, so I'm not giving them a 4.5 stars. But they are the model. I look at New England and Green Bay. I think I was talking to you about this offline. Green Bay and New England have been to me right now, the pillar organizations that have done it for, about the last 8 or 9 years in a row. Mike McCarthy, who is an alumni of the Saints. Remember, he was on the Saints coaching staff back in the day. So he's kind of like somebody I root for, because he came from the Saints, before he took that job, in Green Bay. And so I look at those two teams as being examples with the next set of teams that are rising with consistency, being Cincinnati, teams like Cincinnati, Arizona, Seattle, and now the Carolina Panthers. So the Saints were once that elite team, teams that were mentioned, in the top 5, and I'm hoping they can get back to that. And so I think Bill Belichick and Sean Payton have a great friendship. I just wish, I would love to be a fly on the wall to wonder if Bill Belichick called his buddy, Coach Payton, and asked him, did he want Chandler Jones? And was it that we had no one that we could really give up, or was it a salary thing that we couldn't get him? Because I just can't believe that Chandler Jones, as young as he is and already a Pro Bowler with 12 sacks last year, that Bill Belichick did not offer him to the Saints before he went to Arizona. And we just couldn't afford to give up anyone off our line, Armstead nor Unger, because those probably would be the only two that Bill Belichick would accept for a Chandler Jones trade. So I just wonder if, because of their friendship, if that was not the first offer for Chandler Jones before he went to Arizona, and what an additional pickup we would have had if we could have got Chandler Jones to play opposite of Cam Jordan, man. I would have just been doing cartwheels all over the place, visually impaired or not. I'd have just been doing carts. But I think that's a good test for the Saints to start, and we'll get to see what's going on. I'm anxious to see my man Lewis, the little kickoff returner that is wide receiver, that is also making some notes. And I'm anxious to see R.J. Harris, because he is consistently on each report by Deuce and Bobby of his consistent play, as well as Michael Thomas. So these are some of the things I'm looking at. We have 90 players for us all to be trying to keep an eye on. I'm just going to focus on a few key players and just be trying to make my notes, because the game is coming on live Thursday, August 11th. So we got 1 week, people. Well, actually Sunday. I'm sorry, the first game is Sunday, the Hall of Famer. And so football is back. So should be interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. Well, the Saints also have added a couple of young guys, and they waived 3 candidates for the team as well. They added a young guy, defensive back Jamal Golden, as well as offensive lineman Jordan Walsh. They waived. Let's see, Prater was waived. Kyle Prater, which I was real shocked that he was waived, but he was injured, as well as